Hey, you nerd turds! You are listening to Monster Candy Podcast. We got a sweet tooth for horror movies, and we want to live deliciously.
It's gonna be that kind of episode.
Here we got Dominic Davy.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
And we got Screamin'
Hey, everybody out there in Candy Podcast Land!
Oh my god,
And I'm Shotzi motherfucking Blackheart. I said S. I said SH.
Okay, we got the idea. Clearly I'm the only sane one in this episode. So, today, we're going to talk about The Witch. Because these two hadn't seen it, I love it, and they finally saw it, and they had, I think, what is going to end up being the reaction that I expect them to have about it. But we're going to talk about that in a minute, because first...
we got horror news!
That's a siren.
Is this another cheap moment?
Okay. Well, first
off, notifying everybody of the fucking news we are about to bestow on them.
Top of the news right now that we're going to share with everyone is that some of you might have heard about this. This has been floating around for a while, but the movie Tremors is going to have a TV sequel on Sci-Fi Channel starring Kevin Bacon, who starred in the original movie.
But
Valentine
my
McKee.
question is fucking Remo Williams, Mr. Fred Ward going to be in there? That's what I want to know.
It doesn't look like he is.
Oh!
I wish he would. He should be. He should be. I guess it's going to pick up 25 years after the original film left off, and the killer graboid worms that supposedly destroyed the small town of Perfection, Nevada 25 years ago are back, and the only hope for survival is Valentine McKee. Kevin Bacon, who already beat them once, but to do it again, he'll have to overcome age, alcohol, and a delusional hero complex.
Oh, shit.
He's like the timeless wonder, though. He looks the fucking same.
He does look the same.
He does.
He does.
I think he's dead.
He's like a vampire?
He's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a vampire, because if he's dead, he's the best looking corpse ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see his dick.
I mean, he
what
does
was that
kinda look
movie
like
he
a
was in?
corpse.
Fucking with Nev Campbell and Denise Richards. Wild Things. Yeah, you see his dick in there. Shower scene.
You know, this is actually, I didn't know this. Maybe you guys knew this, but did you know that Sci-Fi Channel had tried to do a series, Tremors the series, back in 2003, and Kevin Bacon wasn't involved, and it only lasted for 13 episodes. But
I feel like I remember seeing. I never watched it, but I feel like I remember seeing that.
no, I didn't. I never heard about that. So it must not have been that great.
It's Sci-Fi Channel, man.
Yeah, it's gonna. I don't know. I mean, I like.
But now it was probably fucking awesome.
I liked Battlestar Galactica on Sci-Fi Channel, their reboot of that series.
Or Sharknado or fucking Z Nation or all that
Z
stuff.
Nation,
you know?
I like Z Nation a lot. We talked about that.
Yeah.
We did.
Alright, but I did not like their Dune remake. I didn't like that at all. Yeah, I don't know. So, I think it's going to be cool. I'll check it out, especially with Kevin Bacon, and I like Tremors. I was just out, I just went out to Alabama Hills below Mount Whitney in California, Southern California, and I saw the area where they filmed Tremors, the original, and it was awesome. Cool. And I saw the rocks that they did the pole vaulting scene in the first movie.
Where is it?
It's down, it's like by this town called Lone Pine.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like east of Bakersfield.
Okay.
It's the Alabama Hills, which is just below Mount Whitney, and it's this incredible like area of like rock formation. It's awesome. No, not in Alabama. It was a bunch of prospectors who named the area after a southern ship that sank a bunch of northern ships. So they were being kind of shitty.
Got that
I guess.
fucking North, man. Goddamn Yankees.
So that's what happened there. So anyway, yeah. But meanwhile, while that series is happening, they have moved forward, of course, with Don Michael Paul's new Tremors film, Tremors 6, A Cold Day in Hell, starring Michael Gross again as Burt Gummer.
Family ties.
Yeah, family ties. So apparently Burt Gummer and his son Travis Welker, played by Jamie Kennedy, find themselves up to their ears.
What?
Yeah, Jamie Kennedy, I guess. Find themselves
All
up
right,
to...
then.
You know who that is? I have no idea.
Jamie Kennedy. Fucking Malibu's Most Wanted, the guy from fucking Scream.
Oh, really?
Jamie.
Huh.
If that is Jamie Kennedy.
No,
yeah.
it's the same Jamie Kennedy.
Yep.
I can see him right there.
Oof.
He doesn't look good. But that could be the movie. Anyway, him and his son, Travis Welker, played by Jamie Kennedy, find themselves up to their ears in graboids and ass blasters. What the hell's that?
Graboids.
Ass blasters.
I know what a graboid is. I don't know. Apparently, I've checked out of this series.
Like
a
you
while
don't
back.
know what an ass blaster is.
When they head to Canada to investigate a series of giant worm attacks, arriving at a remote research faculty in the Arctic tundra, Burt begins to suspect the graboids are secretly being weaponized, but before he can prove his theory, he's sidelined by graboid venom, and with just 48 hours to live, his only hope is to create an antidote from fresh venom. But to do that, they have to figure out how to milk a graboid. That is already far too complex of a...
I'm for it.
Hold on, wait. Can we change the name of the show to the Ass Blasters?
Yes.
No,
Podcast.
we are not.
Ass
Absolutely
blasting
not.
graboids.
No, I'm not. We're not going to be called.
Sounds
ass
like a
blasters.
shitty horror punk band. Then.
I guess it's coming out in May. It's going to be out in May, so direct to video. There it is. So that's.
Yeah, there you go.
When is the TV thing out?
No idea. I'm not sure. Soon. Does that count?
Great.
Right. Wait, hey, can we just talk about one more thing?
Yes. One?
Well, for me, so there is going to be another Nightmare on
Oh,
Elm Street
boy.
remake.
There is.
I
You
knew
were
I
right.
was- I knew
You
I
were
wasn't
totally
crazy.
Right. You were totally right.
No, I wasn't
Yes,
crazy.
Screamity, you were right.
Yes, there is.
Congratulations.
Because there needs to be another one.
Writer David
I'll watch
Leslie
it.
Johnson is attached and working on it right now. He wrote The Conjuring 2, and he's also working on Conjuring 3, and he's working on a Nightmare on Elm
Who?
Street reboot. This writer that I don't know, but he works on The Conjuring. There's not much information on it, but you were right. There isn't another one. Even though the 2010 reboot of Nightmare on Elm Street...
Was that the last one?
Yeah, that was Jackie Earle Haley who did it. I thought he did a good job, but the movie wasn't that great. So they're trying to do another reboot.
And he's too short.
He is short. He is a short man. Yes.
He's a man of short
Most
stature.
actors are short.
This is true.
They got a standard synopsis, which is kind of silly. This came... Bloody Disgusting posted, but they also said this is false, so I don't know. I'm not gonna read it. But anyway, you guys, what do you
Fuck
need?
that
You don't
shit.
need a reboot of Nightmare on Elm Street. You know what?
Nope.
You know what the hell's going on. Anyway, so supposedly it's still being kicked around, but apparently there was a rumor. There's people who want Kevin Bacon, which ties into Tremors, to play Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Yeah, I don't know how realistic that is. It sounds like a whole bunch of wish fulfillment. Oh, I guess Kevin Bacon responded on Twitter when confronted about it, going, "I like the way you think," which, you know, it's kind of neat. I don't know. So there it is. Kevin Bacon news!
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
No, isn't it 7 degrees or is it 6 degrees? I thought it was
Pretty
7
sure
degrees.
it's 6 degrees. It's any fucking degrees it wants to be because Kevin Bacon's involved.
No, Kevin
And
Bacon's
he'll
a man.
dance your face off.
He will dance your
Don't
face
take dance away from the kids.
So there
That's
it
all we
is.
have.
Somehow our bits of horror news were all tied to Kevin Bacon, which is a little weird. But that's it for horror news for this episode. So there it is. All right, let's get serious. We're gonna talk about The Witch.
2 more.
All right, The Witch.
VVitch.
This episode's dedicated to The Witch because my friends here haven't seen it and then they finally watched it. The Witch is The Witch, a New England folktale, is a 2015 period supernatural horror film written and directed by Robert Eggers in his directorial debut. The film stars Anya Taylor-Joy, Ralph Ineson, Kate Dickey, God man, I'm ruining these people's names, Harvey Scrimshaw and Ellie Granger, and Lucas Dawson. The Witch follows a Puritan family encountering forces of evil in the woods beyond their New England farm. Spoiler alert, I fucking love this movie. I love it so much. Let's see what they thought of it.
Boo.
I liked some things about it, but this movie is a slow burn.
It is a very slow burn.
Come hither.
In other words,
come hither.
It's boring sometimes.
I think.
Come hither, you brother. Come here.
I'm going to say one of the mistakes I think that they made in marketing this movie is marketing it as like straight up horror, because it's really kind of a period piece.
Yes.
That is kind of that builds to an interesting climax, like, and
there was things there to work with. Don't get me wrong. I personally think it would have been better if they would have, like, as like some short stories or like a series of like different things that happened to different families, because I felt it was kind of just bits and pieces like put together, you know, like a recount of like, oh, this happened this time or that happened this time, and they kind of just smash it all together,
right?
Into one family.
I don't think like the point of this movie was so much the witch, but just more so like family drama.
Well, I think I know what he was trying to do is really try and create a true telling that captured what it was like in 1630s New England and how they felt.
First of all,
witches.
Let's say fuck New England and the Patriots.
Wow.
Anyway.
Okay, all right.
Don't get this ginger started on that fucking team. Anyway.
Right.
Sorry.
No. I mean, it's fine.
Fuck Tom Brady. No.
You know?
Anyway.
But Tom Brady kisses his child with so much love.
It gets so fucking weird.
Okay.
We'll get into that. Anyway.
I have no idea what we're talking about because I didn't.
I'll show you the video after, and it's fucking creepy.
You need to see this video, Tom.
Oh my god.
Of Tom Brady kissing his son. Just
way too long.
Really?
Okay. Way
very
too long.
romantically.
It's got a lot of love. I don't know.
It's fucking creepy.
Well,
anyway.
I wondered how you guys would do with this movie, just because it's like, I think this movie is a work of art.
Yes.
But it is a slow burn. It's not a lot of jump scares. It's more like ramping up tension, and it just kind of builds and builds and builds. And it's going to be a little bit tricky for some people to dive into because they literally hired people to make sure that they could write the dialogue and speak the dialogue in that era's English.
The dialect took me out of it a little bit
because it's accurate.
Yeah, for a minute, like, you know, growing up and going to school, like, they kind of teach you this shit, and you read Shakespeare and all this stuff, so you kind of know what they're talking about. But every once in a while, especially with accents and stuff, you'll be like, wait, what the fuck did they say?
Right.
So then you got to kind of think about it for a minute. So, I mean, it's just like, I'm not a big fan of like
I'm not
movies
either.
with subtitles.
And I was a huge theater nerd. Like, I was in Romeo and Juliet and A Midsummer Night's Dream and Macbeth. Yeah, I mean, I did, but yes, I do. But even watching it, I was just like, oh, I don't even want to think this hard right now.
Yeah, there is going to be that kind of reality. I mean, I also love Shakespeare. I love that they went to this level of detail. I mean, like, this was shot with only like natural light, and indoors the only lighting was candles. So they start like, it literally was like they made all the costumes literally from books of the era, and they made it out of the same materials. Like, this is like a truly legitimate like recreation of that era as best they could to tell a creepy story.
American Apparel beanie that he was wearing.
Okay, there was no American Apparel beanie in this movie.
Although,
yeah. See, man. I mean, I'm sure they did their homework, but I've never seen some fucking beanies, some tassel caps and shit in the 1600s.
Well, you were also not there in the 1600s.
Yeah, but I've never seen any historical, you know,
I mean, this
proof of that. Which I was
movie,
like, what the fuck?
Does it help you guys that the Satanic Temple has endorsed this movie and hosted several screenings because they love it?
Oh God.
Like, that's
fucking
a real
nerds.
thing. No, but honestly, this movie, like, okay, if you have not seen The Witch, understand, if you watch it, you're going to see a very slow building tension kind of movie. It's going to be more like a historical period movie telling a supernatural, like, story of devil worship and witches.
Well, see, that's the thing that...
And how a family falls the fuck apart.
It's definitely more like through the perspective of the family during that time that they have no idea, nothing makes sense, nothing, like all this weird shit's going on, but they don't have any clue of why or what, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's the part, like, I think it could have been a really good movie if they would have really developed, like...
I wish there was more witch.
Like, okay, so there's this witch. Well, why is she focusing on this family? Is there more witches?
Right,
or is, you know, like, more developing of the story instead of just like, hey, there's some weird shit going on. Hey, son, let's go. Oh, you're, you know.
It's kind of like you're basically saying, like, what I had my issue with the last American Godzilla movie, where it was like, you got a good story, but I don't care about this family. I care about Godzilla, and you're only showing me a little Godzilla. This is a movie about witches, and we're really excited to see what is going on with this woman who's living out in the woods, tormenting this family. Well, why can't we see more on her?
Well, they didn't wait to tell you if there was actually a witch in the movie or like, you know, the family wasn't going crazy. They showed in the first scene. I mean, they were going crazy.
Well, that's the funny thing. Go on and finish your thought, and I have something.
But the first 15 minutes of the movie, you see the witch and then the baby and like her rubbing the bullshit on herself.
Yeah, she was making.
Hold on. Are we spoiling this? Because we're just gonna talk about it.
Well,
okay, maybe no more spoilers.
No,
maybe.
All right,
like, because it's kind of hard to talk about.
It's hard to talk about.
Like, can we loosely talk? Like, we can mention a crazy Raven scene, but maybe not say what happens.
Well, here's what we'll do. Here's what we'll do, guys. Like, at this point in the episode, if you want to see this movie, here's what I'm gonna say. Clearly, it's not your typical horror movie. You got to go into this like this. This movie was made like a painting is made. It is a work of art from this dude who created like this really crazy supernatural period piece. If you go into it expecting a regular horror movie, you're probably going to be disappointed.
Well, I'd say go check it out.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a creepy tale. It's almost like that. It's almost like this really creepy tale, and it's going to definitely fascinate you, but like, you know, you got to appreciate like literally what this guy is trying to do. You're either going to fall in love with it or you're going to be...
It's not your standard movie where it's like, where they're showing you exactly what happens. There's a lot of backstory to stuff or whatever. It's just kind of like, hey, there's this family and then things happen.
Right.
Nothing really gets explained, but check it out. I mean,
you don't want to be high while watching it. You don't want to be drunk because you got to really listen to what they're saying because they're not speaking regular English. They're speaking like
the King's
New
English.
England 1630s English, and it's a trip. But I will say this before we get into spoilers. I give this movie 5. My highest rating, my 5 adorable, cute, zombie, undead candy corns on this movie. I love this movie. I'm a huge fan of this movie.
Miss Blackheart?
I think like a 2.5 zombie.
Cute little zombie candy corns?
Cute little zombie candy corns.
2.5?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd say a 2.
2?
Yeah.
See, there you go, guys. You gotta kind of. It's gonna be like what kind of fan you are, what you're willing to put up with.
Yeah, I don't like artsy shit.
Yeah, this movie's about the journey, and it is somewhat artsy. It's not gonna be your typical horror.
It's not super artsy though. No. Like it could have been way artsier.
Yeah. There was a lot of
slow
potential.
Burn, yes.
And I wish they would have made that a movie, like, but expanded it to like give some backstory.
I just wanted more witch.
Yeah.
Like, I loved the acting.
It's definitely the family's perspective.
Yes. I love the acting. I loved, you know, all the character work. It was it's very well developed, but I just want more witch.
We gotta jump into these spoilers right now.
Alright, let's...
Spoiler alert!
Alright.
Spoiler alert!
Why don't we break for commercial, and then we'll come back with spoilers. So this is your warning. He's giving you a spoiler alert.
Get out!
Johnny.
What's new, Susie Q?
Oh, nothing. I just got this dress at Juniper Tree Vintage. Do you like it?
Oh, wow, that looks really swell. Do they have any men's clothing?
Oh, yeah, of course they do. They got everything.
Wow, that's neat. Where are they located at?
Oh, well, they're located at 1506 Webster Street in Alameda, California.
Oh, wow, that's great. But what if I don't live here in Alameda?
Well, then you can check them out online on Facebook or Instagram, Juniper Tree Vintage.
Wow, thanks a lot, Susie.
Want to get a milkshake, Johnny?
That would be great. Let's go.
Swell.
All right.
Okay, and we're back. And now it's spoiler time. So you keep listening to it. Hey, it's on
your
you.
fucking problem.
It's on you. Okay, spoilers.
The biggest problem I fucking had. All right. So you got those two little fucking weirdo twins.
Yeah.
Were they twins?
Yes, they're
Are
twins.
they twins?
They're supposed to be twins.
Yes.
Not all twins look alike, man.
And it's
No.
It's
No,
also
but
a
he-
nod to The Shining, right? Those twins.
Maybe. I mean, it's just
Well,
twins are
just-
creepy.
The brother just looked a lot younger than the girl to me. But anyway.
Typical.
Okay, look.
Well, everyone's calling him the new Kubrick.
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 She's high.
Kubrick.
No, I'm not. I don't get high. What are you talking about?
Kubrick.
You're high on life,
Crew.
motherfucker.
Coup. Like I'm staging a coup brick with this brick.
Like
Kubrick.
haiku?
No. Well, yes. Kubrick.
Coup.
How long are we
Shouldn't
gonna
you know
take
this?
talking about?
I know
Kubrick?
it. I just can't say it. My
You do-
brain and my mouth do
Anyway,
different things.
Edgar's got a lot of props because he was very detail oriented. Like
Zip
Kubrick.
it. These two little fucking weirdos are talking to a fucking goat.
Yes, Black Phillip.
Black Phillip. And their parents are like, oh. But then they get on the fucking older sister's case because she's like, oh, like whatever. And it's like, hey, you fucking idiots. Your two little demon seeds have been talking to this fucking goat for how long? And you've never like, oh, yeah, that should probably be something we should be concerned about.
Thomas and the oldest daughter, who's the central character of this movie, is clearly not the popular one in the
Right.
family. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Like, she's clearly not the favorite of the mother.
Right.
That's Meg.
And when she's the
Yeah.
Meg.
She's the Meg.
She's the Meg Griffin
Except
of this
she's
family.
cute.
Shut up, Meg.
But
It's actually the actress from Split, right? Like Split, the movie.
Yeah, and she's
Yeah.
in Game of Thrones, too.
Yeah.
There was a lot of Game of Thrones
Yeah.
in this movie.
But
yeah.
but my thing is, like, man, if you're that concerned about witchcraft, and you have two little kids talking to a black goat,
Black Phillip.
you think
It's racist.
you would be like, all right, hey, man, what's going on here? That was
Yeah.
my biggest issue. I'm like, what
Well,
the
they
fuck?
clearly just did like Thomason could do no right.
Yeah.
But this movie, it's so okay. There's another level. It's funny that you were saying how you're like wondering like if they're how they're going crazy and you think that they've they showed the witch right away. So like no, there is a witch. There's no illusion. Though the film one of the trivia things I found that I thought was really interesting summarizes it like this. The film's plot was intended to be taken literally, but director Robert Eggers has spoken about a few small hints that he and the other filmmakers left throughout the film that you could interpret that there's actually a reasoning beyond supernatural. And one of those is that the corn that's not working, it clearly has ergot. I wrote it down. I've never heard anyone say it. ERGOT, ergot, which is a hallucinogenic fungus that can be attributed to real-life stories of possession and witchcraft.
Oh.
So there's also the possibility they left in this movie on purpose that this is just literally an entire family tripping balls and turning on each other.
Off
in
of
the
some
middle of the
moldy-ass
woods.
corn.
Right, so that
Yeah,
this actually
moldy corn.
didn't... Which would explain why they would hallucinate like a baby being gone and all this stuff. They are laughing really hard at the last thing they said. That's really great. That was... Okay.
I'll try some moldy corn.
Yeah, moldy corn will mess you up. But I mean, like, I don't
It's like
know,
worse than bath
bad
salts.
chicken. Mess you up.
Sorry, I'm trying to breathe. So yeah, I don't know. I just like the level of detail. Like even the title of this movie where it has the two V's to spell W, that was literally found in a Jacobean era pamphlet on witchcraft.
Huh.
The language the witches use in the film is Enochian, which is what I thought. That's the angelic language recorded in the private journals of John Dee and his colleague Edward Kelly in the late 16th century. Kelly was a spirit medium who worked with Dee on magical investigations, and they claimed the language was revealed to them by Enochian angels, and it's the integral to the practice of angel magic. So I mean that's just like ridiculous. Like
I feel like they were just going crazy and they were tripping balls off of moldy corn, especially
I like that.
especially because the end. You know what I mean? Spoiler alert: she gets fucking naked with Black Phillip, walks into the woods.
She signs the book.
Signs the book and fucking joins the coven. And
Why she gotta sign a book though? Isn't her word enough for Satan? You know, like it's not like he's gonna bring her to court later. You know, like.
Well, that's even part of it too. Historically, like signing the book is literally in Puritan theology. The person recorded a covenant with the devil by signing or making their mark in the devil's book with pen and ink, with blood.
Okay.
And with
All
such
right.
signing, you become, by the beliefs of the time, a witch and gain demonic powers. And that's all part of it. Like,
and then you go dance around fire with a bunch of other naked witches and float up in the air.
yeah, it's even during even when her mother Catherine's like tripping out and believing she's nursing the baby and it's a black raven like pecking at her tit, like that's literally a tribute to the witch's teat, a special nipple or blemish which they nursed their familiars and fed them blood. I mean, there's all references to it's a historic.
Clearly,
period.
they did their homework.
Yeah, they did their
so
homework.
it's done well. But like I said, I wish it was more developed. But I guess if you look at it in the way, if you're going by, they were tripping balls off of moldy corn, then it all makes sense because you're like, yeah, this weird shit's happening.
That means they left that poor baby in the field thinking it was gone while it just
it's fucked.
Died
they
of
just couldn't see it
starvation.
anymore and they just lost it because they were all. I mean, I also thought the performances were great. The kids that
So
scene,
good.
that the boy when he comes back and his whole death scene, the way he dies is
he was
just
good.
freaking out. Nobody held back. They all went for this. They're all chewing up the father losing his shit.
Yeah, it was well done for sure.
But it's an acquired taste. I mean, I even like the ending. I mean, I thought the ending was sick. And that's my favorite line. I'm sorry. Would you like to live deliciously? I was like, yes, nice.
I enjoyed it.
Would you like butter? Was it? Did you say something about butter? Would you like to eat butter and?
Would you like to eat butter off my corn dick? I'm Black Phillip. My moldy black corn dick.
He does turn into a man, to get her to sign the book.
Yes.
Right.
I think this movie is sick as hell. I love it.
Did you know that the director of this movie is doing the remake of Nosferatu?
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I mean, I don't know if it's true, but I heard it on some YouTube thing.
Wow, it's probably true. I mean, they had a budget of $4 million for this movie, which is minuscule, and they brought in $40 million. So this is a humongous success.
Yeah.
For them all.
Yeah.
But
$4 million, really?
They made it for $4 million. I mean, really, one set.
That's true.
That's what,
I
I'm
guarantee
saying
that witch's hut was literally 20 feet from the farm they built.
No, I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, but they spent $4 million.
I can see
They
it.
probably could have done that for 2.
You
I
gotta
don't
pay
think
people,
so,
man. Let's not
yeah,
prove.
You know,
gotta
you
rent
find
that
people that want to do it because they're passionate about the work.
Man.
If George Romero has taught us anything, it's to get your fucking friends and your family and everyone who wants to be in a witch film, man.
I don't know. I thought this was one of the coolest depictions of witches, but I can understand where you'd want more witches. I'd like to see this movie inspire other people to make great movies about the witches in the woods.
Totally.
Not cheesy, crappy ones. Really cool. I know people love Hocus Pocus, but I mean, let's get real. I like the idea of a scary
digging deep.
That was one of the things when we talked
Pumpkinhead
about Pumpkinhead.
Witch,
The
you know?
Pumpkinhead Witch. I
Pumpkinhead Witch.
love the pumpkin. I love the idea that there's this old woman that knows
Well,
secrets.
see, even in that they
and
gave.
darkness.
There wasn't a whole lot of backstory with her or whatever, but
No,
there was
she was
some.
something.
You
Well,
know
you
what I
could
mean?
infer it from the way they set it up. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. This one, it was which makes me, in retrospect, think now that they were all just fucking tripping because nothing was set up for that. It was just kind of
Well,
shit's
it
happening.
seemed like they moved to her neck of the woods, and shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Just kind of unravel.
But where are all those other
Poor
fucking
Tom
witches at?
They all came out at the end.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
You know that baby, I guess male babies specifically, you could use their fat and use it as a flying potion. I guess that's mentioned
Really?
somewhere. That's what she was doing. She was making it so she
A
could fly.
flying. Oh.
She killed the baby.
What else do you know
ground it
about
up.
witches? I like this.
I know a little bit. I mean, I shared that thing about how a lot of their the Halloween witches that we have is
Right,
beer
yes.
makers, but I mean, they were just really cool, like...
What other spells do you know?
Do I know spells?
Yeah, what other...
I don't know if I'd call myself a witch. But, yeah, man, I love this movie. I think everyone should see it, and I think it's a really amazing feat that they did. I think this is great. But I can understand where people would watch it and be like, oh, it's slow. But I think you just got to kind of appreciate the journey. So I stand by my 5 zombie candy corns, but it seems like they stand behind their 2 and 2.5. Mm-hmm. But I think they were expecting a more horror movie. I think you
I mean, it might be like 2.5 now, because they're tripping off moldy corn.
That makes you like it more?
Oh, it makes more sense now, because it's like, oh,
yeah,
okay, yeah, well, that would make sense why there was nothing else really developed about anything outside the family.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're fucking crazy.
Yeah, they're out in the middle of nowhere. It's I don't know. It's a period piece with supernatural and horror elements.
Go see it, Candy Killers.
I say see it. I say it's a must see, but it's definitely know what you're getting into when you do see it. I love that movie so much. So I can watch it over and over again and watch this family fall apart on itself.
Man, that's dark, Dom.
Yeah, well, you know.
He hates families.
Here's gonna hate.
Yay, yay!
Alright, so I guess that pretty much sums it up. Thank you so much for listening to Monster Candy Podcast. We'll be back next time with a whole nother movie to talk shit about. Go see The Witch.
Suck my big toe!
That's what I was waiting for. You've been listening to Monster Candy Podcast. Want to find out more about the show? Find us on the web at monstercandypodcast.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram by searching Monster Candy Podcast. And you can find our Twitter at MonsterCNDYPC. Hey, we couldn't fit the whole name. What do you want from us? Let us know what you think of the show and if we're right or if we're wrong or what you want us to tackle next. We want to hear from you. Well, Shotzi and I do, but I can promise that E doesn't really care. To find out more about Shotzi Blackheart and her professional wrestling, follow her Twitter at Shotzi Black or her Instagram at Shotzi Blackheart. You can follow Screamin' E's band, the Memphis Murder Men, on Facebook at TMMM official page or his Instagram at Screamin' E. That's screaming with no G, add the E. For me, Dominic Davy, you can find my artwork at dominicdavy.com, my band Tsunami Bomb at tsunamibomb.net, and you can hear my other podcast, 3 Gigs, at 3gigspodcast.com or on the same platform you're hearing this podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Monster Candy Podcast.
Creature stole my Twinkie.